Welcome to the kit room. It's Sunday as usual. Welcome, Neil. You had a good week?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Two good wins. I'm really happy with that. What about you?
Yeah, not bad. Two good wins. Today we're going to talk about the Brentford game, so we might as well get straight to it. So, Neil, Brentford, what are your views? How did it go? What did you think?
Considering it's a second string team, I think we did pretty well, to be honest. Second half, we were definitely put under the cosh a little bit more, but the defence was resilient. There was a few chances towards Res Morgan, which were quite funny as well. But overall, I think we had a decent performance. We're through to the next round of the Cup, and it's good to see that Brendan Rodgers is taking the FA Cup seriously. It'd be very easy for him to put this away with being top four in the league, with being in the semi-finals. He could have at least played the under 23s and I would have been okay. But it's looking like he's playing every game as seriously as he possibly can. What are your views?
Yeah, exactly the same. I thought it was an okay game. I thought we had a great first half, but didn't really seem to do much second half. Gave Brentford far too many chances. But again, Brentford put the reserves out. I think for Brentford, it was a good chance for them to see where they are Premier League wise, which is why I was quite disappointed their first team didn't really play, because I think that would have been a great game. But I can understand why they did it. They need to concentrate on the league. They need to try and get that automatic promotion position. So I can understand why they did it. But overall, a good game. I thought we deserved a win, and a great goal. So let's start with the goal, or shall we start with the pass?
Oh well, I know where you want to start with the pass. Go on, let's go. Let's go with your man Pratt.
Pratt, what a ball. Lots of people saying he scuffed it. Whether he scuffed it or meant it, it was still an unbelievable pass.
Yeah, I think the
Um,
vision he meant to pass it.
yeah, I think he meant to pass it. Justin whips the ball in. No defenders got even near it. Nacho, almost an empty goal, bangs it straight in. Still a difficult chance. Them half volleys sometimes go up wide. Still took it well. One thing I've seen about Nacho is passion seems to be quite high towards the club. I think under our previous manager, I'm not going to mention his name. um, I think he didn't. He had that. He lost that passion. He didn't really want to play. He seemed very lazy in games. But now under Rodgers, after the obviously great coaching he's had, he's now that passion is back. He's very passionate about us. He wants to win every ball, and when he scores, you can see how much it means to him. And I think that's great. I think it's also great for his international career, because I know that he'd been dropped recently, but now he's starting to score. That should revitalise his international career as well, and that can only be good for Leicester.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the chance that he had, for example, if he had the same chance last season, I think he probably would have missed that. And it just shows you how important confidence and the mentality is to a football player, especially a young one like Nacho. Where I remember coming into the season, we both said this will be the make or break season. There's quite a few of them that actually started this game that it was this is the season to decide if they're going to be in the team for the we can see for the rest for a while, or they're going to be have to be shipped out. And luckily, Nacho has really stepped up to the plate. And you look at, for example, at the Everton goal, and when he scored it, and then when VAR was announced,
Yeah,
the goal was given. He went straight over to Rodgers, and that was probably one of my favourite moments so far of the
yeah,
campaign, with all the players crowding onto the manager all together as a group. It
yeah,
was fantastic. But yeah, back to Nacho. Like for this game, I think he had a decent game overall, and it's
yeah,
great to see him getting on the score sheet. And we've been wondering about a plan B. It's been almost a cliche for the last three
yeah,
years. What happens if Vardy gets injured? What happens if there's an injury
yeah,
to another player? But it looks like we have that backup in the right position, and also he's at that right age where he's gonna be afforded to sit behind, but
yeah.
at the same time he will still come on and make an effort. And to be fair, that's all we wanted, because we knew there was a great player in there, and it's just taken a brilliant manager to really unlock that potential.
Yeah, and I think for me, he looks quicker than ever as well.
Yeah, there's more hunger.
Especially with the ball.
Mm.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's all about that passion and that hunger that he's now got on him, because somebody's now believing in him. He wants to play. He wants to challenge Vardy for that spot, because he knows that when Vardy retires or gets injured, or even 70 minutes, if Vardy's not doing anything on the pitch, that's his time to shine. And this season, taking the opportunities and shining, which is good, great to see.
Yeah, it definitely totally agree. And also it helps with the formation that we play and how we play. Like under Rodgers, we weren't sorry, under the manager that you won't speak of, we won't really get the best out of Nacho. We were expecting him to come back, link play, and then head up to the box.
Yeah,
He's a poacher. He will stand in the right positions to get a tap in. And if you look at most of his goals, they have been tap ins, have been around the box,
yeah,
really short and sweet goals. But at the end
yeah,
of the day, that's what we need. We need the ball to go in the back of the net, and the
yeah,
striker is the hardest player to get for.
yeah,
To get so the fact that he's there in these positions,
yeah,
that's the sixth sense that he's got, the ability to get in the right position, wait for that ball to come in, bide his time, and then just slot it in the back of the net. And to be fair, I think he's got a quicker goal and assist ratio than Vardy this season. I think so.
yeah,
It's probably one of the highest in the league if you
yeah,
consider how many minutes he's played. So again, we've not just got a great player, we've got one of the best players in the league at the moment. That sounds a lot, but for the amount of he's played and for the amount he's actually made an impact on this team, it's been
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, totally agree. So let's have a look at yesterday's stats and see how we went on against Brentford. So Neil, looking at the stats on screen, what did you make of the stats?
Yes, so I'll just read the stats off for you now. So the score was 1-0 to Leicester. Total shots for Brentford 11 and 30 to Leicester. 3 on target for Brentford and 3 on target for Leicester City. 47% possession for Brentford, 53 for Leicester. 80% pass completion, and we had 79. And then 7 corners against 4. So overall, you can look at the stats; they're pretty similar. Something to bear in mind is that Brentford had a higher pass completion than us with 80%, which for a second string team, I think you mentioned this before, the fact that they've had loads of injuries and they need to play this second team, 80% is a really decent amount, and it would be really good to see them how they would perform in the Premiership. Sorry. And the percentage only 53%. We've definitely bossed teams like West Ham. We've got more percent and more shots on target, and they played really well. It was quite an even game, as the statistics said. Sometimes it can be quite swayed one way or the other.
Yeah,
But I think overall, with the total shots and the fact that we got that goal again, coming back to Nacho, that's what we needed to win this game.
yeah,
It was a really good game. First half, I think it was a different game to the second half. Normally, Leicester City tend to step it up in the second half. I think we took our foot off the pedal a little bit too much and let Brentford come into the game a bit too much. But overall, as the stats say, it was a victory for us, but only slightly. But again, we played well, we played decently, and I think there was a few players that in this game that really stood out to me. What about you?
yeah, exactly the same. I was glad that their front three weren't playing. Their front three have scored 34 goals between them. Ollie Watkins, I think, is their top goal scorer. Unfortunately, his dad passed away this week, which is why he didn't feature at all. So obviously, our condolences to his family. The other two, like to have seen play to see how they got on against us. But overall, I think it was a great team. I saw the Brentford managers' comments after the game. A lot of the players there hadn't played together in that formation and together like that before. So I think 80% pass rate is really good. Hope they get up next year. Be good to see them in the Premier League. Obviously, the last FA Cup game at Griffin Park, they've been there for over 100 years, and they go to a new stadium next year. Hopefully in the Premier League. I think their new capacity is around 17,000. Although a small ground, if you can get it rocking in the Premier League, then that's great.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
want to
the
go on a rant.
quality. It's the
Yeah,
quality of the fans, not the size of the stadium.
yeah,
We've definitely seen that from going to even a team like Huddersfield when they came up the first year didn't have the
yeah,
biggest stadium, or Bournemouth when they
yeah,
came up the first year they had even smaller stadiums. I think 17,000. But the
yeah,
idea is they're going to solidify themselves as a top team
yeah,
and build for the future. It's great to see,
yeah,
and we want these teams to come up and challenge the
yeah,
big boys like
yeah,
ourselves, and
yeah,
for the entitlement of the top six to kind of go, we'll win that 4-0, we'll
yeah,
win that 5-0, and
yeah,
really hit
yeah,
home for them. But apart from that, yeah, I think the Brentford fans were pretty fantastic as well, to be honest.
yeah. I also want to touch on Dewsbury Hall. Great to see him come on. Been playing amazing for the under 23s and thoroughly deserved his chance. Came on quite well. Social media was around Dewsbury Hall. It was great to see him come on. Although a lot of the comments were, how did they fit his name on the back of a shirt, which I thought was quite funny. And how much would it cost to have his name on the back of a shirt? So I thought them kind of comments were quite funny. But overall, he came on and didn't seem to show his immaturity. He
Yes.
seemed to be as though he'd played there for quite a while. He came on, he stepped up as part of the first team, and it didn't phase him at all, and I thought that was really good to see. Sometimes with young players, when they come on, they get nervous, glory of the cup, and they try to do fancy things that they lose out, lose the ball. But he was very composed on the ball, seemed to play quite well, and I was really impressed with him. What about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think one of the things that he did is he didn't set the world alight with his performance, but it's the maturity to just do what he needs to do, not try and do the fancy pass or try and get any attention from, especially since it was on television as well, to
Yeah,
get play any silly balls or any adventurous balls. He was obviously told to play alongside Hamza, keep it, and he's obviously played with Hamza before when Hamza was in the under
yeah,
23s. So seeing a boy from Shepshed come through, again, really, really happy with that.
yeah,
And playing in a team that's playing really well, his role was to kind of sit along Hamza and pass the ball out. I remember the time, I think, towards the 88th minute where he tried to do something and lost it. I think he
yeah,
realised, okay, I can't take not the world on, but a lot
yeah,
of these players try and say, okay, this is my only chance in the FA Cup. Let me go and show the manager what I can do and do
yeah,
something risky and stupid, lose the ball and potentially concede. He didn't do any of that. He played it well, played it short. But I
yeah,
did think the players we were playing at the same time were that formation when he took off Gray and then put on Dewsbury Hall. And
yeah,
so we were only playing with, and then took off, I think he took off all Brighton. And I'm
yeah,
surprised he didn't another bring a wing on. So he had like four central midfielders, which I thought was a
yeah,
bit strange as well. But I think it was a still 4-4-2 formation. But you can see the class that he has. And
yeah,
he will grow into a great player. We've just got to keep playing him. And obviously, the reason why we're trying to play him now is that potentially he would be able to fit into the squad for the Champions League if we
yeah,
want to get our midfield is pretty stacked. So for him to get in to for the
yeah.
Champions League or bring him into the Premiership would be fantastic.
Yeah, so I want to talk about man of the match and obviously our scores of the players, which we do every week. Before we do that, I just wanted to touch briefly on Damari Gray. Um, since we signed him, he's not really lit up the world. I've seen bits of brilliance to his football, but I've also seen absolutely dreadful footballing decisions. Yesterday was another game of dreadful footballing decisions. Within the first few minutes, we had a free kick, and he tries to drill it from near the touchline into the bottom left-hand corner, which if it goes in, it's an absolute worlder, but it didn't. 10 minutes later, we have a free kick. Their wall is lined up for Fuchs to bend it with his left foot round the wall into the top corner. For a left footer, I think it's quite an easy thing to do, and especially with Fuchs's left foot as well. Um, I think we'd have scored from it. Gray takes the ball, takes over straight into the wall. They attack. His decision making is poor.
Mm.
Sometimes when I see him play, his decision making, like when he comes on a sub, this is what I don't understand. When he comes on a sub, he seems to have that passion. That decision making seems to be okay. Not the best in the world, but okay. But when he starts, I don't know. He just in his head, he's got a different mentality. So I'm starting now. I should be in the team. So for me, his decision making was poor again. I'm not sure where we go now. Um, I know the transfer window closes Friday, so I expect us to probably bring in either one or two players, maybe a winger. Um, so if we are looking for a winger, which all the rumours are, we are looking for a winger, and Rodgers has said that, then what does that mean for Gray and O'Brien? I think end of the season, it'll be time for them to move on.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think one thing as well is that we were playing, especially towards the beginning of the game, very high intensity football. We were not letting them have any space on the ball. We weren't letting them having any time on the ball, and we
Yeah,
were getting the ball. But it's when getting the ball in good places and passing it and knowing who to pass it to in what position. The problem is when it came to Gray, it seemed to slow the game down a little bit. And he's not got that brilliance to get past a player. Like I know I'm not trying to complain to Eden Hazard, but a player like Hazard will slow the game down when he
yeah,
played for Chelsea, but he'll create chances. He'll move forward. He'll
yeah,
open up space for other people. Gray doesn't seem to have the ability to do that, and that sounds a bit harsh because he has got the ability, but I think he just feels like at times it's just a bit too. He's trying to take on the world, and he just doesn't need to. So coming back to like the criticism of the praising that we're doing for Dewsbury Hall, it's kind of the opposite for him. He just needs to slow it down a little bit, play it simple, not go around like a headless chicken like he was a little bit at the beginning.
yeah,
And again, make these decisions like example with the free kick or when he's trying
yeah,
to go, he hits into the side netting, and it was disappointing because it's such a good position to have a free kick in, and Fuchs would have been brilliant at that. So overall, yeah, and another person that you mentioned, Albrighton, I think he looked decent for the first half,
Yeah,
but he was kind of lost second half, to be honest. So I can see potentially him leaving at the end of the year. I would. It wouldn't be a nice thing for me to see because he's been one of our most consistent players. But I can see what
yeah,
you mean. Slowly, it is starting to drop from his team. But in the same way that Morgan was dropped a little bit, maybe he'll be kept around, so he'll push those young players on to know that, look, if you're not going to perform well, we've got all Brighton
yeah,
on. We know what he can do, and he's going to be decent for the last 20 minutes. Just whip balls in and give a 7 out of 10 performance as usual.
yep. Okay, so everyone can see the scores at the bottom of the screen of what we're giving the players. Just wanted to touch on man of the match before we went. Fuchs comes in now and again. He covers for Chilwell, always in the centre. I don't think I've seen him have a bad game this season. So for me, Fuchs just edges it over the others. I know that you thought about Chowdhury was up there as well, but for me, I think Fuchs fully deserved, played well, was very strong at the back when they were attacking, and I thought he did really well. So for me, Fuchs man of the match. What about you?
Yeah, I would disagree, but only slightly. I'd probably go with Chowdhury as man of the match. Another good shout for that is Dennis Pratt, who ran that midfield really well, with Chowdhury playing slightly further back and Pratt playing the midfield really well.
Yeah,
So overall, I would give it to Chowdhury just for the fact that we've
yeah,
seen play a different game to
yeah.
what he's played before.
Okay.
So
Let's just
what?
say though, I've not given Pratt man of the match, so let's put that out there as well.
So do you want a gold star for that one as well then? Is
Yeah,
you not giving your favourite player man of the match? Yeah, so the reason why I gave Chowdhury the man of the match is because we were playing in a different formation to what we
yeah,
usually do. And also his role was to stop normally it's go back and try and tackle and lunge into tackles, which obviously we know he can do, but will lead to a red card somewhere along the line. And it's lead to a couple of injuries of players.
yeah,
So what he did is as when he got the ball in that position, he would block it off immediately, and that's something
yeah,
that Ndidi does really well. Is to counteract that and then play it forward really simply to a creative player who would get the
yeah,
ball in. And I think he did that really well, which kind of went under the radar. But he did that a good 6 or 7 times, which would stop them hitting us on the break. So again, Fuchs, I definitely agree would have a brilliant game, but I just
yeah.
wanted to switch it up a little bit and give Chowdhury a bit of a shout out as well.
Okay, no, that's good. So thanks for staying, Neil. It's been great talking to you. So we're back next Sunday. Obviously, transfer window closes Friday. So hopefully we'll be able to talk a bit about that. Chelsea game Saturday lunchtime. Big game for us, and you never know. This time next week we might be on our way to Wembley.
That would be very good. You won't be here next week. We'll both be completely drunk and then hungover trying to do the show, and we've not even won it yet. But we'll see. I thought it was interesting to see that Dean Smith was in the commentary
Yeah,
box as well. I
yeah,
was like, that's a bit strange of him being there, but obviously he's looking at the tactics and the
yeah,
formations. But I don't think that will really help him too much because this is a second string team. This is a team
yeah,
that doesn't normally play. So I don't know how much this actually helped him, but hey, a bit of money from the BBC, I don't think he's gonna miss too much. Hey,
yeah. Just one last thought from me. Depends who turns up on Tuesday. If Grealish and Mings turn up, the best they've ever been, then will be a very difficult game for us. But if it's the Mings that we've seen in the past and Grealish gets hurt and a bit off the ball, then I see us winning. Hopefully we'll win, and hopefully we'll be at Wembley. So I'll speak to you next week, Neil. Any last thoughts from you?
yeah, just to touch on that, I think the same with us as well. With Soyuncu has a good game, Evans has a good game, Madison if he's on fire, if Vardy comes back because there's still a 50-50 chance of him coming back, we can't rely on
Yeah,
him. But if our players are on form and we've got a 1 point better away record than we have
yeah,
at home, so Aston Villa are going to be really up for this game.
yeah,
We're going to be right up for this game. So but hopefully this FA Cup hasn't affected us too much.
yeah.
So we'll play well, hopefully, and we'll speak to you all next week with hopefully in the final with big grins on our faces.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Neil.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.